For my junior soccer project, my aim was to make putting on shoulder pads faster and easier. The reason why I had this idea was during practice, or at the beginning of practice after warm-ups, our coach would yell us to get our pads on as fast as possible, and it always seemed like we never had enough time to do it. So that's where my idea came from. Doing this was a lot harder than just imagining it. So I had multiple ideas of how to tighten the shoulder pads. My first idea was a knob that I could tighten on the chest or the breast portion of the shoulder pads. But as I was thinking of how I would do it, trying to go back and forth, I just didn't seem to be practical because it would stick out of the pads too much, and I couldn't figure out a way to tighten it without specifically manufacturing the pads for the knob. And I had these pads and I didn't want to buy some because I already had these ones. Another reason was I contacted Riddle or Rydell, I don't know specifically how to pronounce it, and they said that they had the same problem of it sticking out a little bit too much, and it was easier for them to make the straps, and it was safe. So that idea got thrown out the window. My next idea was to make something that could contract and expand. So when you put on your pads, you could just tighten something on the chest. So my idea is I got this idea from looking at my garage, and I found this thing. And it was an easy way. You just screw this and it tightens and expands. And so I looked into it a little bit, and there's smaller ones of this, like a decent size smaller. But even then, it wouldn't be practical because it would stick out too much, and it's just a metal bar. It just add excessive amounts of weight to the pads. So I figured there was got to be a better solution somewhere. So I got my last and final idea when my family and I went up to our cabin, and when we went up to our cabin, we brought our dogs, and so we have a dog cage, so we put it in the back of the truck, and there's straps to hold it down so they don't move around in the back as we drive up, and you put a strap through, and it's like a little click thing, and you can loosen and tighten it really easily. And so as I thought about it one Wednesday, it was the Wednesday after I got back from my cabin, that I had the idea of just using it for the pads. And that weekend I worked on the pads a little bit and just tried to see how I could make the pads fit my idea. The pads originally had these little clip things, which took longer, a little bit longer than I think what I have now. And they also had other straps, but they fell off, but I remember them from when I played when I was younger. I cut these off the sides, took the ropes that we used to tighten the cage down, and put them on, and then tightened them to. I only cut off the back portion of this clip, so the straps that used to tighten the pads around your waist are still on there. It's just I cut this little clip off, and then I threaded this rope through the loop in the piece of the clip that I didn't cut off. And then there's a little contraption here that you can press down on a button right here, and you can tighten and loosen the pads, or the strap to hold the pads. That was how I kept the old pads and made it my own idea. My next problem with these old pads was when I had this strap. When I tightened the strap, it would kind of fall below the breastplate, and it'd be hard to put back up, but once you tighten it, it would stay. So I wanted to fix that problem. I finally got the idea to sew something on, and then as I was about to do it, I looked on the pads, and they already had an already made strap. So after I made everything and made sure everything would hold up and everything like that, I burned the end of this string, so when I pull it, or it gets to the end, it won't go through. So it'll stop it. So I just burned it, and then this is all the excess I cut off. So these are my pads. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you how to put pads on, because why would I not do that? So these pads are a little bit small for me because obviously I haven't worn them in about 8 years, but they work well enough. So there's a little button you press, you tighten them, and then just tighten them, and they're on, and they're pretty secure, as secure as my old pads were, and that's it. That's what you do. Pads are on.